What was the secret World War II mission they tried to erase from every history book? On the night of the 14th of January 1942, in the neutral Spanish port of Santa Cruz de Tenerife, 3 Axis ships carrying vital supplies to Rommel's Afrika Korps slipped their moorings and vanished into the Atlantic. Officially, it was a routine convoy. In reality, it was the first victory of a shadowy British unit that would change the war forever. Operation Postmaster, a daring raid by the Special Operations Executive that humiliated the Axis, nearly dragged Spain into the war, and remained classified for decades. This is the untold story of the mission so explosive. They buried it in secrecy. By late 1941, the North African campaign hung by a thread. Rommel's Afrika Korps was starving for fuel and supplies. 3 Axis ships, the 8,500-ton Italian liner Duchessa d'Aosta, the 3,800-ton Eboli, and the 1,500-ton German tug Lioba docked in Tenerife, carrying 3,000 tons of aviation fuel, ammunition, and raw rubber bound for Tripoli. Tenerife was a neutral Spanish territory, guarded by Franco's forces who leaned Axis but stayed officially neutral. Winston Churchill could not allow this convoy to reach Rommel. Enter the Special Operations Executive, so the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare, formed in July 1940. SO's mission was sabotage, espionage, and subversion behind enemy lines. For Postmaster, they assembled Operation Postmaster, 8-man led by 29-year-old Norwegian Gustav Gus March Phillips, a Cambridge-educated lawyer and SOE's first field commander. His team, wealthy adventurer Geoffrey Appleyard, Irish wireless operator Graham Hayes, and 6 others, including Canadian André Evenhoff. They sailed from Poole Harbor aboard the Maid Honor, a 200-ton fishing trawler disguised as a Danish rum-runner. Their orders: capture the ships intact, sail them to Gibraltar, and vanish without a trace. Failure meant execution as spies or worse. Dragging Spain into the war on Hitler's side, the 11th of January 1942. Maid Honor arrives off Tenerife disguised as the fishing vessel Nordsee. The team rows ashore in kayaks under cover of darkness, posing as Norwegian fishermen. By 1400 hours on the 12th of January, they had rented a villa in Santa Cruz and scouted the harbor. The Axis ships are moored bow to stern at the quay, guarded by 50 Italian sailors and Spanish police. March Phillips' plan is audacious: board at night, overpower crews with Sten guns and knives, cut anchors, and tow the ships out to sea with Maid Honor's launches. By 1800 on the 13th of January, the team acquires explosives and submachine guns smuggled from Gibraltar. Weather turns: force 5 winds, rain squalls. At 2,200 hours, they slip back aboard Maid Honor, anchored 3 miles offshore. By 02:00 on 14 January, the launches approach the quay. Italian sentries pace the decks. 50 yards away, March Phillips whispers to Hayes, "If we fail, make sure to sink the launches. No evidence." At 02:30, the first boarding party, March Phillips, Appleyard, and Hayes, scales the Duchessa d'Aosta anchor chain. They climb silently, hearts pounding. The deck is dark, crew asleep below. Little do the Italians know what happened next would become legendary. 02:35 hours, March Phillips kicks in the wheelhouse door. And the Italian officer spins around, pistol half drawn. A silent Sten submachine gun coughs twice. The officer slumps dead. Alarms wail. Below decks, 200 Italian sailors wake to British commandos bursting into cabins. Hands up or die. Panic erupts. Sten guns chatter in the narrow corridors. On the Eboli, Hayes grapples with a deckhand who grabs a fire axe. The two men tumble over the rail into the black water. Hayes swims free, gasping as the tug Lioba's crew spots the commotion and raises the alarm. Spanish police flood the quay. Rifles drawn, March Phillips radios from the Duquesa, situation critical. Spaniards alerted. Engines sabotaged, we must cut and run. But the anchors are chained to the quay. By 0300. The harbor is chaos. Searchlights sweep the water. Italian machine guns rake the ships. One SOE man, Peter, the Polecasterman, is shot through the thigh. March Phillips faces the impossible: abandon the ships and swim for maid honor, or fight to the last man in neutral territory. For 3 brutal minutes, the raid teeters on disaster. Every shot risks war with Spain. At 0303, March Phillips makes the call that saves the mission. Cut the bloody anchors now. The team hacks the chains with bolt cutters. The Duquesa drifts free first. Engines dead but momentum carrying her into the channel. Appleyard hot wires the Eboli. Her diesel's coughing to life. Lioba's tug engine roars, pulling the liner clear. Spanish police fire warning shots into the water. An Italian shore battery swivels toward the escaping ships. But the SOE launches tow the prizes into the darkness. By 0400, the convoy is 3 miles offshore. Lights doused. Maid honor takes the tow lines. For 36 hours, they steam at 5 knots, dodging patrols. On the 16th of January, they reach Gibraltar. Franco's government protests furiously to London. Churchill denies everything. British trawlers? Surely a mistake. The deception holds. Operation Postmaster delivered 3,000 tons of supplies to Gibraltar, enough to fuel the Afrika. Korps for 2 months less. Casualties: 1 SOE wounded, 2 Italians killed, 1 drowned. The ships were commissioned into the Royal Navy. Duquesa as HMS Trader, Eboli as HMS Honeysuckle. March Phillips received no public recognition, so medals were secret. He was killed on a later raid in France. Awarded the Military Cross posthumously in 1945. Postmaster remained classified until 1973. It proved so. Could strike anywhere, anytime, with impunity. Today, a plaque in Santa Cruz reads, "Here." In 1942, the war came to neutral waters. No. Victoria Crosses were awarded, but the mission's legacy endures. The first victory of Churchill's ungentlemanly warriors. This was just one of countless untold stories from the Second World War. Subscribe to World War II Files as we continue to bring these forgotten chapters of history back to life.